Hi guys, in this video we're going to look at the GCSE Maths questions from one of the past papers from Eduqas. This is paper 2, this is the calculator paper. So you will have additional formula sheet and you will need two of them for one of the questions at the back. One of the area of the circle and one is the area of the trapezium. They both will be given to you. Okay, there are other formulas there as well. Let's have a look at the first question. Let's read the first question. So Enzo and Jane are taking a group of children to the beach for a day trip. They go to the shop to buy some items for the trip. So you got the items there with the money, prices. So the last one for the toy duck is given as pence, so we need to change it into the pounds because we will be calculating in pounds. Let's write the missing numbers. So 15 buckets, each is 235. You multiply, use the calculator, and that will give you £35.25. Then you have sets of spades, and they cost £12.30. So divide that by the price, 4.10, and that will tell you how many sets of spade you need. That is 3. Then you have toy ducks, and multiply 17 toy ducks, multiply by 0.95, and that will give you the total for the ducks, 16.15 pence, £16.15, and add up all the prices to get the total. That's what we usually do. To find the total, we add up, and that is £63.70. So that gives you 4 marks for each step, for every step. So then further we need to find the 10% discount, and we know 10% means divide by 10. So let's divide 63.70 by 10, which is just moving the point one place to the left, £6.37. Okay, so that's a quick, simple question. 10% always means divide the price, the number, by 10. So next question, Jane has £15 to spend. The shop has a special offer on beach balls. Buy 2, get 1 free. So what is the maximum number of beach balls Jane can buy? So let's first see how many beach balls she can buy. £15 she has, divided by the price, 3.20. That will give you a decimal number, 4.6875. That means 4 balls she can buy maximum, and for each 2 she gets 1 for free, so that means she gets 2 free, altogether 6 balls. That's what she will get, 6 beach balls. So well done if you got these questions right. So question 2, we need to write the number in words. This is required sometimes if you have to write a check, for example, in a bank, so you need to know how to spell these numbers. 340,000, so remember to spell 40 without the U, F-O-R-T-Y, and 205. Let's look at part B. Shade 1/3 of the following shape. So we can see the shape is divided into equal triangles. Let's have a count all the triangles. Okay, there are 18 triangles in them, and we're going to divide that by 3 because that's what 1/3 means. Divide by 3. That leaves us with 6, and that means we need to shade 6 triangles. We can shade them in different order. They don't have to be symmetrical in the shape, so I'm just shading 6 triangles, and that is your answer. So C, part C, what is the value of 2 in the number 5.2614? I just zoomed in to show you that actually 5.2614, because some of you read it as differently. So there is a point there. 5 points. The first number after the point is a 10th number, so that's going to be 2/10. So write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest. So we have negative numbers, positive numbers. We're going to start with the negative numbers because they are the smallest, and that is -5. You can cross out as you write them if you want. -3, and then we are left with positive numbers. So make sure 3.45 goes before 3.6 because that's smaller, and finally 6. Next part E, here are 4 cards with numbers on them. 4, 3, 7, 5. Write down the largest 4-digit number that can be made by rearranging the cards. So start with the biggest number you see, 7. Then the next biggest 5. Then 4 and 3. So that is your largest number you can make, 7,543. The next number asks you to write the smallest and even. Even is given as bold, so pay attention. It means your number should end with even number. So we need to use the numbers and make the smallest number. So the only even number is 4. That's going to be the last one. And we're going to start with the smallest possible number, given number. That is 3, 4, 5, 7. So that is the number we want. So some of you didn't put as 4 as a last number, so that was a mistake because it has to be an even number. So question 3. The scale below are used to measure the mass of some fruit in grams. What is the total mass of the fruit on each scale? So on the left hand side we have 3 pairs. Okay, let's zoom in to see where it's pointing, the scale, the arrow. So 200, 300, the halfway between is going to be 250. And we have 5 small increments between them. That means each one is going to be 10. So it goes up in 10, 250 and 10 more, 10, another 10, 270 grams. So 270 grams. And let's have a look at this scale, and that's quite easy. Actually, it's halfway between 300 and 400, and then has to be 350 grams. Let's write them in the right places. 350 grams. Calculate the mass of each pear and each banana. So there are 3 pairs on the first scale, so we're going to divide 270 by 3 because they are all the same mass, 90 grams each. And for banana we need to calculate the 1 banana. We're going to do 2 steps. So what else we have on a scale? Pair. So we're going to 350 minus 90 first to get rid of that pair, and whatever is left we are going to divide by 2 because there are 2 bananas there. So 260 divided by 2, 130 grams. Okay, that gives you full marks in this question. I think some of you forgot to divide by 2 and the answer was 260, so you lost a mark there. Let's look at question 4. It's on probability. 100 tickets are sold in a raffle. A ticket is to be selected at random, and the person with that ticket wins the prize. Sandra buys one of the tickets. Circle the expression that describes the chance that Sandra wins the prize. So the chance of her winning the prize is 1 out of 100. That is a very small chance. We're going to indicate it as unlikely. Let's look at next one. Henry has 6 pairs of shoes in his cupboard. He picks one shoe out at random. Circle the expression that describes the chance that Henry picks out a shoe for his left foot. So we don't need number 6 here. It doesn't matter how many pairs you have. There will be the same number for the right and the same number for the right shoes. That is an even chance. So in other words, 50-50. So that will be the right choice here. Part B, Zach has a bag containing 12 marbles. 1 marble is green, 3 are red, and the rest are blue. So this probability scale has got 12 parts. So 0 represents impossible, 1 represents certain, 100%. Okay, so let's have a look at the information we have. For A, what is the probability that Zach chooses a red marble? So how many red marbles do we have? 3 red marbles. So the chance of catching a red is going to be 3 out of 12 then. So we always show probability as a fraction. We can't show it as 3 as a whole number. So 3 out of 12. For yellow, there is no yellow here at all. So 0 out of 12. And not green. Let's have a look. What do we know about green? There is a 1 green. It means the probability for green is 1 out of 12, and the probability for not green is going to be the rest of them, 11 out of 12. Okay, let's now mark these fractions on the probability scale. So that's 3 out of 12, that's A, 0 out of 12 is going to be there, B, and 11 out of 12 is just right at the end, that is C. 3 marks for this question. Okay, question 5 is on symmetry. So there are 4 questions, and each question gives you 1 mark if you answer it correctly. Let's have a look now. First question is on the lines of symmetry, so we need to find the shapes with 2 lines of symmetry. Let's have a look at all these shapes and see how many lines of symmetry can we draw in each one of them. So remember, line of symmetry divides the shape into 2 identical parts, and one is the mirror image of the other. Okay, that's 1 line there. Square has 4 lines of symmetry. And that's pentagon, that will have 5 lines of symmetry. Oh, I can't draw it properly, but so basically in regular shapes, the number of sides tells you how many lines of symmetry can you draw. So 5 sides, 5 lines of symmetry. So 5 lines of symmetry in a pentagon, and a rectangle we have 2 lines of symmetry. In this shape we actually have 2 as well, even if it looks like 1 first. Here we can draw 1 across as well. And here 1 line of symmetry, and that's another pentagon. There is also 5. Here 1 line of symmetry, in there. Isosceles triangle, we can draw 1 line of symmetry. Okay, so let's have a look then which ones have 2 lines of symmetry, and as you see, that's going to be D and E shapes. Okay, so we need to look now at the shape which has rotational symmetry of 4, and that's going to be B, a square. A square has 4 lines of symmetry, but also rotational order of 4. Remember, rotational order shows how many times the shape fits around itself, if it does like 360 degrees turn around itself. The next one asking you to find 2 congruent shapes. Remember, congruent means identical, the same size, the same shape. So let's have a look what shapes are the same, and that is the arrow shape. They are the same, it's just different orientation. And the last question asks you to find similar shapes, and similar shapes are, like, one is enlarged, so enlarged shapes. One is enlargement of the other, so that is pentagons. These are pentagons, as one is bigger than the other, but they are identical. They're both regular pentagons. Okay, and these are 4 marks if you answer each question right. Question 6 on timetables. Your ability to read timetables correctly. This is train timetables and between different towns. And let's have a look at question A. Elise catches the 8:45 train from Portsmouth Harbour to London Waterloo. How long long should her train journey take? So let's have a look first. Mark them on the table. 8:45 to 10:29. So this is what we need to calculate, the time between these times, the duration, and we can do it in bits. From 8:45 to 9 we can do 9 o'clock, from 9 to 10, and then from 10 to 29. So if you just break it down into bits, that's easy to calculate the time. So that's no, that should be 15 minutes. So from 8:45 to 9 is 15 minutes, 1 hour from 9 to 10, and 29 minutes from 10 to 10:29. So add the minutes first, and that will give you 44 minutes and the 1 hour. So the total time is 1 hour 44 minutes. Okay, good. So next question. Paul lives in Petersfield and works in Guildford. He starts work at 10 a.m. It takes him 15 minutes to walk from the train station to work. Paul needs to arrive at work on time. Okay, what is the time of the latest train from Petersfield he can take? Let's have a look and find these two cities in the table. Petersfield, Guildford. Okay, so Guildford, let's have a look at the times when he can arrive to Guildford. Right, so he can arrive at 9:18, 9:48, 10:18. So let's have a look at 9:48. So he needs 15 minutes to walk afterwards. So if I add 15 minutes to 48, that's going to be after 10, so that's too late. So that means he needs to take the earlier train. So he can't take 9:17 train, he's going to take that train, 8:47. Okay, question 7 is on conversion graphs. Georgia is going on holiday to France. She takes one large suitcase and one piece of hand luggage. The graph below can be used to convert kilograms and pounds. Okay, let's have a look at which one is which. So the horizontal one is kilograms, shows kilograms. The vertical one shows pounds. So Georgia's suitcase has a mass of 24 kilograms. Let's have a look at the vertical, at horizontal line. 24 we need to identify there. So there are 10 little increments between 10 and 25. It means 2 of them means 1. So let's divide them in 2s and go up in 2s. And 24 is going to be right there. So we're going to go up on the line from 24 until we hit the conversion line. Right there, and then we're going to go across until we hit the vertical axis, and we're going to identify that number. So that's where it hits the vertical axis, and that will be our value in pounds. So let's have a look, what is this number? So the number between 50 and 60 is 55. The numbers go up in 1 in this case, so that is 53. So remember, in conversion graphs, your numbers don't have to go in the same way on both axes. So you need to calculate the little increments correctly. So this is 53 pounds. And the next question, 53. So we need to work out the other way around. Her hand luggage is 15, so we need to work out 13. Okay, so 13 pounds. Let's go across and down, and that's going to be 6. It's not 7. Remember, these were going in twos. Numbers go up in twos, so that is 6 kilograms. This is probably the main thing you need to pay attention to when you convert one measurement into the other. So make sure you get your little increments correctly. You get them right. So next question is on formula, using the formula. It's on a car hire. A car hire company in France uses the following formula to calculate cost in euros. So car hire cost is 11.25 multiplied by number of days. In this case, number of days is 8. Replace it by 8, and insurance is 95. So we're going to do multiplication first and then adding 95 to it. So the answer is £185. Okay, so next question is again using the same formula. Mina is also hiring a car from the same company. She has £270 to spend. Insurance is 126. So she wants to find out how many whole days can she afford the car. So in this case, we have the total, 270. Let's just replace the words by the numbers. 270 equals 11.25 times by days plus insurance, 126. So this is equation now. So we have to work backwards to find the number of days, because the total is given. Let's work from the total backwards. 270 minus 126. So remember, the BIDMAS also going to be in the inverse order. So we're taking away first 144, and then we're dividing by 11.25. So that will give you the decimal number on a calculator, but we have to round it down, so 12 days. Why we're rounding it down? Because rounding up will not give enough money. So for 270 you can get 12 days of hire. Question 8. Malik is planning a birthday party for 25 children. He can choose either a swimming party or an adventure center party. So these kind of questions are very common in exams when you need to calculate cost with discounts. And discounts are usually given as a fraction or as a percentage, so you should know how to calculate them and get the right cost at the end. So let's have a look at so first of all, remember it's for 25 children. And the first swimming party, it tells us that you pay £320 for 20 children and £725 for each additional child. So we're going to multiply £725 for 5 times by 5, £36.25, and add it to 320 to get the total cost for 25 children, £356.25, and then we can apply 1/3 discount, 1/3 of the total cost. So that is a total cost, £356.25. 1/3 means divide by 3. Some of you decided to change it into the percentage. That's not a good idea, because as a percentage it becomes a recurring number, 33.3333. Just keep it as a fraction. That means divide by 3. That will give you £118.75. Now, this is a discount. This is not the total cost, so remember to subtract it from the total. And quite a few students forgot to subtract it, so the total cost after the discount is £237.50. Okay, so well done if you got every step right in this part of the question. So again, remember 1/3 means you divide by 3, and then you will subtract that discount from the total cost. Let's have a look at the second deal. We have here adventure center party, £13.60 per child. So we have 25 children multiplied by 25, £340. and then you get 15% of the total cost for group of more than 20. So we can use this 15% off because we have 25 children. So again, don't divide it by 10, by 5, don't split the percentage into 5 and 10, just multiply it by 0.15 because that is what is calculator method here. So either 15% times by 340 or 0.15 times by 340. That will give you 51, and that's a discount. And again, don't forget to subtract it from the total. So £289. So now you can tick the first option, swimming party, because that is cheaper. So if you've done all these steps like this, you will get full marks. That is 7-mark question. Okay, let's have a look how you did this question and compare to how I did and see what steps you missed. And pause the video after each question and correct your mistakes. Next question is on averages. So you have mean, median, mode, range. So you need to understand how to work them out. So Rochelle is training for a marathon. For each of the last 5 weeks, she has recorded how many miles she has run. So we got the median, 23 miles, mode, 29, and range is 8. So median is the middle number. So we got like 5 boxes there to help us to put the numbers correctly. So I'm going to put it in the middle. The mode is 29. It means there are at least 2 modes in there. And the range is 8. So we need to work out how to work out the range, the highest minus lowest. So we're going to first find the highest number. So it looks like that 29 is going to be the highest number. So it has to be written on the right hand side from 23 because the numbers should be written in order. So 29 minus 8 will give us the lowest number. So 29 minus 8 gives you 21. So that is your first number. And now we are left with the one number to write. And what can we put between 21 and 23? Of course, it's only one option, 22. And that is because the number should be written in order. Okay, so we've got all 5 numbers now. And the question asks you, how many miles in total has Rochelle run in the last 5 weeks? So just add them all up. Just add all these numbers up and that will be your total. Okay, and that gives you 124 miles. Okay, this is 5-mark question. Can you see it gives you quite generous with marks in this question? So make sure you know how to work out each one of them, each one of the averages, and don't use number 8 as one of your numbers in the box. It's just the difference between highest and lowest. Question 10, we have 2 pie charts, and 2 different companies use pie charts to show the proportion of male and female employees. Company A has got 108 degrees as a male employees, and company B has got 234. We can't really tell by degrees that there are more employees, male employees in company B, because we don't know how many employees are in each company. So you can write here that company A can have more employees than company B. For example, company A might have 5,000 workers, and then proportional 108 degrees can be a much bigger number, and company B can have like maybe 500 workers only, and that bigger proportion doesn't mean more employees. Okay, so next question asks you to calculate the difference between the percentage of male employees and the percentage of male employees in both companies. So how do we change 108 degrees into percentage? So first we're going to represent it, show it as a fraction. So 108 can be shown as 108 over 360, and then we're going to change fraction into percentage. So how do we change fraction into percentage? Top divide by the bottom and times by 100. And that's how we change the number into percentage. We do the same with the in the second company. 234 divided by 360 times by 100, that will give you percentage of employees in the second company. So this is the numbers we get: 30% for company A and 65% for company B. And don't forget the last step to calculate the difference between them, and difference means subtract. So 65 minus 30 will give you 35%, and that is your answer. Let's look at question 11. If you're doing these questions first time, you can stop, pause the video and try to do it yourself before you see the correct answer. A shop sells the same breakfast cereal in two different sized boxes. So this is a question on Best Buy. So which box is the better value for money? So there are different sizes. The first thing you need to do always in this type of questions to find the price per the same weight. So I'm doing it per 100 grams here. You can also find the weight per 1 gram in each, or per 4,500 grams, because you can multiply the first one by 4 and the second by 5 to get to 4,500 grams for each box. So I'm going to find the price per 100 grams. For this, I'm going to divide the first value price by 5, because that gives me 100 grams. Price per 100 grams. In the second box, I'm going to divide the price by 9, and that will give me a better idea which is the better deal. So this gives me 0.42442, which is 44 pence rounded. And the second one will give me 0.42, and that is 42 pence. So now I can see clearly that the second option is the better value for money. Question 12. There's a few questions in here. They're all on algebra. The first one, simplify 10a divided by 2. Simply divide 10 by 2 is 5. Don't forget a, 5a. The next question is on solving the equation. 4x minus 5 equals 2. So apply inverse calculations. Work backwards from the answer and find x. So we need to find the value for x, which is 1.75. Expand, it means multiply the number outside, or whatever you have outside of the bracket. In this case, it's 7 by each term inside. 7g minus 42. And factorize 6x plus 4 is the opposite of expanding. So 2 is a common factor for 6 and 4. Put it outside of the bracket. And in brackets you have 3x plus 2. So here we need to find expression for the perimeter of the square. You know all the sides are the same, so each side is going to have a side of 8x. So add them all up. That will give you 32x. In the question after, you need to find expression for the area of the square. For the area, we always multiply length times width, which is the same values. 8x times by 8x. So remember how to multiply two terms. 8 by 8 is 64, by x times x give you x squared. So 64x squared. Question 13, we have a probability question here. Two spinners, one is divided into 3 parts in numbers 1, 2, 3, and the other one has got 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Hubert calculates a score. He squares the number on spinner 1 and multiplies by the number on spinner 2. So you've got a table here. So you should be able to understand what that means. The numbers which go down, 1, 2, 3, the numbers on the spinner, there are 3 numbers on spinner 1, and numbers which go across, 1, 2, 3, 4, the numbers on spinner 2. So we need to square the number. Let's start with number 1. 1 squared is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. That's why I've got 1 already there. Okay, and to find the next value, we're going to do again 1 squared is 1, 1 times 2 is 2. So we're going to write 2 in here. Then 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 4 is 4. So you can see some sort of pattern here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the middle row now. 2. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. That's the middle row, and now we're going to do the top row. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 1 is 9, that's already done. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 2 is the top row. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 1 is 9. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, so we need to put 18 in there. Then 3 times 3, which is 3 squared, yeah, and then times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 4 is 36. So all the numbers are done now. This gives you 2 marks. So the next question really depends on how you did this part. So to win the game, Herbert must score more than 9. And he plays the game 108 times. Let's circle all the numbers more than 9. And there are 5 of them. So we have to write this as a fraction, because in probability we use fractions. So 5 out of, and altogether we've got 12 games. 5 out of 12. So we need to find so the probability of scoring more than 9 is 5 out of 12, and he plays the game 108 times, so we're going to multiply the fraction by 108. So if you have a fraction sign on your calculator, just write as I did on the screen. If you don't have it, just do 108 divided by 12. We always divide by the bottom part of the fraction and then times by the top one. So the answer is 45 times. Question 14 is on distance, time and speed. So you should know the formula. Distance, time and speed. We can write the distance, time and speed as a triangle. Use the initials. So distance is on the top, TS, time and speed is at the bottom. So we always multiply for the distance, but for other two, time and speed, we always divide distance by the other value. Okay, so another thing to remember here, apart from the formula, that the time should be in hours only. So here we have 1 hour 45 minutes. We're going to change it into hours only. And so 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour, or 0.75 of an hour. So that can be written as 1.75 of an hour. And this is the number we're going to use in the formula. So what do we do for the speed? We divide distance by time. So distance is 31.5 and the time is 1.75. And that should give you 18. And because it's the speed, we have to use the correct units. 18 kilometers per hour. 18 kilometers, km/h. So that is the speed. Okay, so this next question, we need to work out the time. So Linda cycles, that's 4 marks, there's more steps here. So she cycles the same route, 31.5 kilometers. She leaves work at 4 p.m. The average speed on this journey is 15 kilometers per hour. So we need to find out what time she arrives home. So we're going to work out the time first. Time, duration of the time spent on the journey. So distance divided by time. So 31.5 divided by 15, that give you 2.1. So remember the hour, the time, the number 2.1 is in hours only. But we want to convert it into hours and minutes. So first we're going to convert the whole thing into minutes, times by 60. That give you 126 minutes, and then change it into hours and minutes. So that's 2 hours and 6 minutes. So her journey was 2 hours and 6 minutes. So let's add it to 4 p.m. when she started the journey back home, and that will give you the time when she arrives home. 6 hours, 6 minutes. Don't forget to put p.m. because it's the 12-hour clock you're using, 6:06 p.m. Question 15. Question 15 is on working out angles. When you look at this drawing, you can see straight away there are two parallel lines. And what should come to your mind is the angles on parallel lines, like alternate angles, corresponding angles, because they are equal. So let's have a look if we have these angles here. So we need to work out x and y. So let's have a look at x angles. So 3x is the same size as 126 because they are corresponding angles. They're angles on parallel lines. So because they are the same, we can put the equal sign between them. 3x equals 126. And we can easily work out the value for x by dividing 126 by 3. That is 42 degrees. Okay, so we're going to work out now the value of y. Okay, so can you see that 152 and the other angle is also 152? So because they are corresponding angles. And we also know if we add them two, we actually get the straight line. They are on a straight line, so we get 180 degrees. So 2y plus 152 will give you 180 degrees. So this equation will allow us to work out y. So 2y plus 152 create 180 degrees. And we're going to work out y by applying inverse calculations, working backwards from 180. So that is 14 degrees. Okay, so first thing always in these questions, look at the picture and see if you see any parallel lines, and think of corresponding angles or alternate angles, and that will help you to find the answer. Question 16, calculate the value of this. So give your answer to correct to 1 decimal place. So if you have a Casio calculator, you can put the whole thing as you see. Use the square root sign, use the fraction sign, use the power sign for 3, and work it out. If you don't have the fraction sign on your calculator, you can work out the top numbers first. So work out the square root of 1456, and then work the bottom numbers, 1.3 to the power of 3. Don't multiply by 3, it's a power of 3. And then do that first, and then subtract 0.7 from it. And then finally you're going to divide the top number value by the bottom number, and you should get 25.5. That is rounded. Question 17. So from the picture you can see you've got the 3D shape, 3D cuboid, and the question is most likely going to be about the volume. So you should know the formula for the volume is length times width times height. So Tobias has a tank in the shape of a cuboid. It has a length of 40, 25 and width of 25 and depth of 32. You're going to multiply them and that will give you the volume. And he uses the jug with the capacity of 2 liters to fill the tank. So the answer in the volume is always in cubic centimeters, so 32,000 centimeters cubed. So you need to know another fact here, that 1 liter is 1,000 centimeters cubed. So we're going to change that answer for the volume into liters by dividing 32,000 by 1,000, and that will give us 32 liters. So now 32 liters is the volume of the tank. And how many jugs do we need to fill it? Each jug is 2 liters, so we're going to divide 32 by 2, 16, and they're going to be 16 times. So we need to fill the jug 16 times to fill the tank. So that is 5 marks in this question. Question 18, we have the ratio here. Nathan and Lucy make and sell wooden items for gardens. Nathan makes and sells benches, tables and tool sheds. And last year the profit he made from selling these items was in the ratio 2 to 3 to 7. So the question asks you, what fraction of his profit did Nathan make from selling benches and tables? So remember, your answer should be given as a fraction. Benches and tables. Let's have a look at the ratio parts. That's 5 parts, and altogether we have 2, 3, 7. We need to add them up because in a fraction the bottom number is the total. So 5 over 12, that is the fraction of the profit. Okay, so let's have a look at the next question. And the total profit was 18,072. How much profit did Nathan make from the sale of tool sheds? That's the remaining of fraction, 7 over 12. Because 5 over 12 was benches and tables. 7 over 12 is the tool sheds. So find the fraction of the amount. 712 over times by 18,072, or divide 18,072 by 12 and then times by the top number by 7. So this is 10,542. Okay, next, Lucy makes and sells planters. Each planter cost Lucy £32 to make. Each one that she sells makes a profit of £80. Before working out the answer, you can see she makes quite a big profit. It's more than double, isn't it? So you're expecting more than 200% in here. Okay, so what is Lucy's profit from the sale of one planter? So I'm gonna use the formula profit over the cost, because we need to find the profit of the sale as a percentage of the cost. So profit over the cost and multiply by 100. So let's put the numbers in there. 8 divided by 32 times by 100. So that gives you 250%, which is what we expected. In case if you put the numbers the wrong way around, 32 over 8, that will give you like less than 100%, which will not make sense here. Because as we estimated, that should be more than 200%. Question 19. The table gives a summary of the masses, m grams of 30 buzzards. So let's have a look at the table. Mass m in grams. Frequency. Frequency means how many of each you have. So each mass is given as a double inequality. That means, so m in the first one is between 600 and 700, and there are 8 buzzards of that weight. And the second one, the mass is more than 700 but less than 800, and there are 7 buzzards of that weight, and so on. So we're gonna go, it says Moen uses the midpoint. So midpoint, basically the number between 600 and 700. So I just wrote them all up. The number between the numbers you have. So when you have double inequality, we always can find the mean only estimated. So we go for the middle number. So let's go for the middle number. Don't forget to multiply it by frequency, by how many buzzards you have. So you got 8 in the first one, 7 of a weight of 750 on average, 850, 4 of them with the weight of 850, and 11 of them with the weight of 950. So multiply, add them up, and that is a total. So 24,300 grams. So we're going to work out the mean now. So in the mean, we always add up, which we just done, and we divide by how many buzzards we have. We have 30 buzzards, we know that. Or we could have added frequencies altogether. That will give you the total number. And that is 810 grams. Just check your answer and see if it makes sense. Does it look like a middle sort of average weight for the buzzards? Yes, it is. So because the lightest was 600 grams and the heaviest was 1000. So that makes sense, the answer of 810 grams. Okay, so let's have a look at part B. Dita decides to estimate the mean mass of these buzzards, and she uses the values of 600, 700, 800 and 900 rather than the midpoints. Explain why her method is unlikely to give a good estimate of the mean mass. So remember, we add up all the numbers and divide by how many we have, but here we're using the lower numbers, not the midpoints. So that means if we add the lower numbers, we get the lower total, and when divided by how many, we get the lower mean. So that's what you need to write in here. The mean will be lower here. Question 20 is on scatter graphs. So you've got the scatter graph. Debbie collects data about a group of 20 people. Her data is the total number of years for which they have owned a pet. That is numbers which go across. And the number of visits they have each made to the doctor in the last year. And that is numbers you see going up on the vertical axis. So you need to make a criticism of Debbie's line of best fit. So when you draw scatter graphs, you have lots of points marked as little crosses, and the line should go through the middle of them. So basically you should have the same number of crosses above, roughly above and below the line. So this is not the case here. So you should say the line should go through the most of the points, or you can say the line should go through the middle of the points. Like this, something like that will be the better line of best fit. So next, Debbie says, because there is a negative correlation, owning a pet for longer causes people to need the doctors less. So it is a negative correlation because you see the line appears to go down from left to right. We call it negative correlation. We call it positive when the line appears to go up. But does it mean what Debbie says? Does it mean that it causes people to need to visit the doctors less often? So the causes is the main word here. We need to explain it. So correlation, positive, negative, doesn't matter which correlation, doesn't mean causation. So doesn't imply causation. That means it doesn't cause anything. it may be other factors as well, so we're not sure. It could be coincidence, it could be other factors. It could be maybe people who have a dog, they like exercise more. So we can't really say that by having a pet, they go to the doctors less. Question 29, 4 marks, it's on compound interest. So you should know the formula for compound interest. So Janet invests 5,000 in savings account for 9 years. So 5,000, this is principal amount. So for the first 5 years, her investment earns 2% compound interest per year. So we'll always change percent into the multiplier. We'll call it into decimal. So that will be 0. Divide percentage by 100. That gives you multiplier 0.02 and add 1 to it. So it's like as if we're doing percentage percentage rise. So 1.02 and 5 goes into the power 5 years. 1.3% divided by 100, change it into the decimal, add 1 to it, and that becomes 1.013, and the number of remaining years will be 4, because altogether she invests for 9 years, so 4 goes in the power. Remember to put the years as a power. So altogether we can write it like one calculation which goes into your scientific calculator, 5,000 times by 1.02 to the power 5 times by 1.013 to the power 4, and that will give you £5,813.11. So make sure your answer makes sense. So you put 5,000 investment and you should get a bit more than 5,000 then. Question 22, circle the correct conversion of 7 meters cubed to centimeters cubed. So if 1 meter is 100 centimeters, meter cubed is not 100, so you times it by 100 times 100 times 100, that give you 1 million. So 1 meter cubed is 1 million centimeters cubed. So that is 7 million will be the correct answer here. Next question asks you to work out the area. So you got a picture with 2 shapes. White one is a circle and shaded one, the bigger one, is a trapezium. So these 2 formulas will be given to you in exam. And so the parallel sides of trapezium are tangents to the circle. So tangent is a line which touches the circle. Basically that means the height of the trapezium is 30 and also diameter of the circle is 30. The ratio of the white area to the shaded area is in the ratio 1 to k. So we need to work out what k is. And the answer should be given correct to one significant figure. So how do we work out the white area? That's just area of the circle. Let's find it. So area of the circle is found by using the formula pi times radius squared. So 30 in the picture is not the radius, it's the diameter. Half of it will be the radius. So we're going to use pi times 15 squared. So if you don't use a scientific calculator, you have to do 15 squared first and then times it by the pi. Squaring always done first in the BIDMAS order, so that give you roughly 707 centimeters squared, rounded to the whole number, 707. And then we're going to work out the shaded area. So the shaded area is a trapezium, and the formula to work out the area of a trapezium is a plus b over 2 times by the height. So A and B is a parallel sides of the trapezium, top and the bottom. So we're going to do 79 plus 62 divided by 2 and times it by 30. So that gives you 2115 centimeters squared. Okay, so now to work out the shaded area only, we have to subtract the area of the circle from the area of the trapezium. So let's do it. Okay, that gives you 1408 centimeters squared. Okay, so now the ones I just underlined, we're going to use these two numbers, put them in a ratio 1 to k, and find out what k is. So white area is 707, and shaded area is 1408. And we're going to try to work out the ratio, simplify this. So what we can do, we can round each number to, like, first one to one significant figure and the second one to two significant figures, 1400, because that makes it easier to simplify. So can you see now we can simplify it to 1 to 2. So here you go, that's the missing number, k is 2. So if you got any steps right, that is, we'll give you some marks, but if you answered all the steps right, that is 6-mark question here. Well done if you got this all right. Okay, question 23, we've got a few algebra questions here. The first one is to solve this equation with two unknowns. So when you have x's on both sides, we're gonna get rid of the smaller one first, so minus 2x from both sides. That will simplify our equation. 3x plus 4 equals 6, and then apply opposite calculations to find x. Oh, it's 3 divided by 3, of course, yeah. And x will be 2 over 3. Keep it as a fraction because it's a recurring as a decimal. So x equals 2/3. So next question, we need to solve inequality. We can solve it just like equations. So as an equation, we apply opposite calculations, work in reverse, and to find x. So make sure you use the more than inequality sign in your answer. X is more than 5. So here in part C, we need to solve the simultaneous equations using algebraic method. So we've got two equations, 5x minus 2y equals 16 and x minus y equals 5. There are two unknowns in each equation, x and y. So what we're going to do, we're going to get rid of, eliminate one of the unknowns. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to eliminate y. I'm going to eliminate y and be left with x and solve for x. So what can I do? So first I can subtract the first equation minus the second. So first I'm going to multiply the second equation by 2. That will give me 2y there. So multiply each term in the second equation by 2. 2x minus 2y, and 5 also times by 2, 10. Then subtract the first equation from minus second equation from the first one. Why am I subtracting? Because minus 2y minus 2y will actually means minus 2y plus 2y, which is 0. So 5x minus 2x give you 3x, and the y's will be eliminated, and 16 minus 10 will give you 6, and x equals 2. So we found x by eliminating y, and we're going to use now this x to substitute into one of the equations which were given to us, either the first one or second. I'm going for the second one because this is short. So x minus y equals 5. So let's replace x by 2. 2 minus y equals 5. So what is 2 minus what give you 5? So it's going to be a negative number. So 2 minus minus 3 equals 5, because that 2 minuses means plus. So y equals minus 3 and x equals 2. If you find any questions difficult, you can practice them more. You know what's the name of the maths topic in each. So that was, the previous one was on simultaneous equations. So question 24, we need to find the perimeter of ABCD. So the shape is rhombus. So what do we know about rhombus? Rhombus has got 4 equal sides. So what is perimeter? When you add all the sides together, so they're all equal. If we just find one side only, for example BC, we can find and multiply the answer by 4, that will be perimeter. So we know that AC and BD intersect at E. So we also know some properties of rhombus, that these diagonals, the dotted lines, they meet at 90 degrees. So we have like a right angle triangle there, BEC or BCE. That's a right angle triangle. One angle is given, 35 degrees, and EC is given because the whole length from A to C is 12, but we also know diagonals bisect, so they are half, yeah, so when they meet they half each other. So EC is going to be 6 centimeters. So knowing one side and one angle in a right angle triangle allow us to use trigonometry, one of the sin, cos or tan rules. So we can remember these formulas by using SOHCAHTOA. Let's label the sides of this triangle first. So BC is a hypotenuse, that's H. And 6 centimeters EC, that's going to be adjacent angle to 35. So we have H and A. So we're going to use cosine formula. So cosine of 35 equals adjacent divided by hypotenuse. So if we rearrange this formula, because we need to find hypotenuse, BC is a hypotenuse, H. So car can be written as a triangle. So to find H, we divide A by C, A by cos, or C. Okay, so use the values. A is 6 and divided by cos of 35, and that is the button on the calculator, cos of 35. Six divided by cos of 35 will give you 7.3246, so it can be rounded to 7 centimeters. But actually, I shouldn't be rounding it yet, so I don't round it yet. We're going to multiply it by 4 first and then round it, because the answer might change. So let's just use 7.3246, whatever you already have on the calculator, and times that by 4. If you round early, the answer can be incorrect, so you always round right at the end. So 7.3246, you might have a bit more numbers on the calculator, times it by 4, and that gives you 29.2985. So can you see, it's good we didn't round it, so because the answer is 29. Now we can round it, 29. If we didn't round it, the answer would have been 28. 7 times 4 is 28, so it should be 29 centimeters. So that was 6 mark questions, quite a big question. So you need to be good at trigonometry here, know which formula to use, understand the properties of rhombus,